Hello and welcome back, guys. Here we are today at Sound of Manchester. It's been a long time since we have been here, but now that we are back, we are hoping for some more smashing content in the next upcoming few weeks. Today, I'm joined by uh, two newcomers and our very own version of Gary Neville, Kushagra Dikshit, and the two debutants being Karthik and Anurag. A warm welcome to all the panel members here. Along with that, this is your host Prathamesh, and warm welcome to all our viewers who have been supporting us even during these tough times. I would like to request everyone to stay at home, stay safe, and a huge salute to all those warriors of coronavirus who are dealing with this and are saving us from that pandemic which is going on globally. I would like to start with today with Kushagra, and we would like to analyze how the season has been so far for Manchester United. The last game which we played was against LASK, which we won final in the Europa League, and we have come a long way. Although you might think the start against Chelsea was a 4-0 victory, but we have had our ups and downs in the season, and today here we are hoping to see what Manchester United can do in the future years. But uh, how do you think, Kushagra, this year has been for United? This season has been because it's been quite a few up and downs, and we have seen the very best of United and sometimes not so good. So, how would you go about it?
Hi, Prathamesh. Thank you for that warm welcome. And once again, to all our listeners, welcome back to the Sound of Manchester. It's been just like the past few months. It's been a very topsy turvy season for Manchester United. And just for context for all of our listeners, provisionally United are in the fifth position in the Premier League, having played 29 games with 45 points. Yeah, as I say this, United are on course for quite possibly the worst point finish in the history of the Premier League, in spite of the fact that they're fifth. It shows the level of disparity within the league in terms of the top team and the rest of the pack is huge. So with Liverpool on 82 points, it's like they're playing their own division. And as far as Manchester United are concerned, I think as you would see during the podcast, we can divide the season into a pre-Bruno season and post-Bruno season. So just an interesting fact: Bruno joined United towards the last week of January, and before he had joined United, I mean, I'm sure all of you must remember that result versus Burnley that United lost at home. Uh, the United were fifth after that result, and the only problem was they were fifth, but only 3 points ahead of the team which was 14th. And today United sit at on the fifth position and are 3 points away from the team which is fourth. So United have gone on an 11-match unbeaten run since Bruno Fernandes has joined the club. So it's been a great turnaround. It's been some sort of an eye wash for our, a fresh start for all of us. I remember you talking about the Gary Neville comment. I remember my rant a couple of months back about Solskjaer and the board and everything else because I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced that United are on the mend and things are going well. There are a lot of results which can be highlighted, which have had happened in the season, which just show that United lack that sense of urgency and that attacking drive that is required of a team to consistently challenge for the top four. But there is a ray of hope. I think absence makes you grow fonder. So that is what has happened with all of us. And we can only hope that whenever it is safe for football to be back, whenever it is back, that United can continue on their unbeaten streak. Because I think if there was one club which lost the most in terms of its momentum, it was possibly United. And uh, let's hope that they're able to capitalize on the future matches uh, because before Bruno, the players which were playing in the number 10 position, you can talk about Jesse Lingard, Andres Pereira. Uh, Solskjaer even tried dropping back Martial and sometimes playing Greenwood in the centrally. He's tried everything, and also the very fact that he's not had Pogba for almost the entire season. So all of that was a mixture that left a very, very bad taste in all of our mouths. Had we done a poll, say around the third week of January, I wouldn't have been surprised with the majority of the fans, wanting Solskjaer's head, because, and also Ed Woodward, who's also, come out looking quite very good after this lockdown. And so let's see. I mean, it's a very, very difficult statement to make right now, as in wherein United are right now. But one can only hope for a better future with just 3 points behind the fourth spot. So if the season were to come back, we can hopefully look for at least challenging for the fourth spot, though it will be tough. But we can hope for the best.
Yes, Kushagra, I think we can definitely hope for the best. Yes, I think the interesting thing which you said was the poll which we could have conducted on the third week of January, wherein I think most, including me, would have said, Ole out. But I think in the long term, people may or may not feel he is doing the right thing. But talking about short-term goals and what our club has done during that January transfer window was to bring in a certain footballer from Portugal named Bruno Miguel Borges Fernandes, and his transfer to Manchester United was probably due in the last transfer window, which did not happen because of some reasons. And here he was in January with the world at his feet and looking to make his mark at Old Trafford. And has he made some real great mark at Old Trafford already and created a huge impact in this team? Anurag, you have been a huge follower of Bruno Fernandes since his transfer from Sporting Lisbon. How do you go and think that Bruno's impact has created the kind of positive change that has made to this club, the positive vibes that he has brought, the leadership qualities that you can see on the pitch right now? How would you describe Bruno Miguel Fernandes?
Guys, firstly, I hope all of you are doing well. So, talking about Bruno, I think we have to go back some years before when Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down. It was like some kid who was angry. It's like United were making a puzzle. They were making a jigsaw. They almost had all the pieces together. And when Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down, it was like someone just shuffled the whole puzzle up, and the whole United management was so confused as to how to bring it back to normal. And it's actually taken so long for us to get it somewhere back to being normal. I don't think it, as Kushagra was just mentioning, I don't think United are still on the right track. I mean, I don't want to comment on the future because we've been very happy in recent times when we signed Alexis Sanchez, when we signed Angel Di Maria. We've had some very good signings, but nothing really has happened. But talking about Bruno Fernandes, there is a certain sense of optimism that this man is bringing in, which most footballers fail to do so, especially ever since Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down. So, as we were talking before we started this podcast, Bruno, firstly, he got a great energy with him, and the people who were playing in his position, in his number 10 position prior to Bruno joining, specifically Lingard and Andres Pereira. Sometimes Juan Mata was playing in, sometimes Martial was dropping back, sometimes Mason Greenwood was taking that inside forward position. Nothing was really working out. I mean, of course, sometimes there were some flashes of brilliance. We were just getting those goals. We were just, some we got away with a few games. But if you look at it, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was really struggling as a manager, because it's very easy for people to blame the manager when a team is not doing well. But when he has players in such an important position like a number 10, where players are absolutely not able to do anything, I don't think it's really fair to blame the manager there. And that's what I think. Ole just didn't have the right player there. And as far as Lingard and Pereira were concerned, the United used to do, build some momentum, gather some momentum, take the ball forward, and when the ball used to hit Lingard or Pereira's feet, they used to do something crazy, and the attack used to die. I don't think the manager could do anything about it. I mean, of course, he could work really hard trying to push their morale up, do more training sessions with them. But I think he's actually done a fairly decent job. But I don't think Lingard and Pereira were really the answer. So what Bruno has managed to do is he's trying to understand each and every player around him. Now it's like if you look at the game against Chelsea, the number of times he linked up with Martial, he's exactly aware how quick Martial is, and is able to you know throw those passes ahead, which are matching up with Martial's run. So you can already see a chemistry between them. So to be precise, 3 goals and 4 assists in 9 games. That's a very decent start, especially coming to a club which has been struggling. And there is a certain sense of optimism, as I said. Now, right now, when you see United, especially after that, our last league game against Manchester City, when at full time, I really can't recollect the last time Manchester being so loud. And it's not because my TV volume was up. It was literally, genuinely, the whole stadium was really buzzing. And it's maybe a little it will be exaggerating to just give that credit to one player, but that is the fact, right? Bruno has come in and that change is coming. And a fact that he is really loving the club, a fact that he sees his future with the club. And I mean, if you follow his Instagram, he's been really optimistic about the future. He's really looking forward to it. He wants to score goals for United. He wants to win matches. He wants to win titles. So you see that he wants to do something at the club, so which is keeping every fan at his feet right now. So that's what even I'm hoping. And yeah, I think thus far, after all the hype that Bruno's transfer made, I was actually hoping that this guy would take some time. Maybe after a few games he would flourish. But what he's done right from the outset, right from the game against Wolves, where he really looked impressive. I think it's been a great transfer, and I would say 8.5 out of 10 thus far.
Our Manchester United chant for Bruno Fernandes says he's a Portuguese magnifico, and that's the kind of impact that he has had since coming from Sporting Lisbon. A few interesting stats about Bruno. Since his debut on February the 1st, he has been involved in 5 Premier League goals. No other player in the Premier League has been involved in the same tally. He has managed 3 assists, and there is no other player who has managed more than 3. And another interesting statistic is he is the 20th United player to win a Premier League Player of the Month award since the start of the Premier League, which is the joint best in the Premier League since Arsenal held that record previously. So these are some stats about Bruno Fernandes, who has created a huge impact and created that kind of positive vibe which this club definitely needed. Moving a step aside from football, I would like to ask the members today to just describe how quarantine has been for them. We have all been in lockdown. We have all been missing football. We have been missing probably just going out and having a ride on our bikes, or just stepping onto the local train and going from one place to the other. Personally, for me, it's been a difficult time as well, because since I have been in an area which has been completely locked down with a few too many people in the quarantine zone, so it's a bit difficult. You don't see people in the streets in Mumbai. It's absolutely crazy. But one thing for sure, I think it's most important for us to stay at home and stay safe, and do whatever we can to help the warriors who are on the streets, who are fighting it out, giving their lives out day in day out, just to deliver us probably a liter of milk at home every day, just to deliver us our groceries, so that we do well at home and take care of us. So again, once again, a huge thank you to all of these people. uh, Karthik, how has your quarantine been? Kushagra, Anurag, how do you feel right now? I mean, everybody's missing football. Everybody's hoping it comes back. But how has it been for you so far?
Can I speak? So yeah,
Yes, Karthik.
yeah. So my quarantine, so my life revolves around football, and I've worked in the industry for 9 years now. So I just came back from, in fact, I just came back from Geneva in March, and I'm still working on football. So my quarantine again revolves around football. I'm working on a few projects that will roll out basically in September. So other than that, personally, I've just been working at home. And, even though it's been tough staying at home, I'm not a very social person anyways. I just like staying at home anyway. And but then I understand the impact on, but we are the privileged people which who can afford to stay home, not worry about the basic necessities. And so the most difficult part has been how this quarantine, the lockdown, this pandemic has shown how big how there's a big gap between the rich and the poor and the privileged and the non-privileged, where we don't really care about how the lesser privileged are taken care. And I mean, be it lack of food, lack of empathy, be it not letting them go back home. Doesn't All these issues have troubled me personally because I'm a bit political. But then personally, it's been, I think, completely fine. Yeah. So once we finish the round, I would like to talk about a bit about football as well. But then yeah, let's let others speak before that. Yeah.
Yes, sure, Karthik. I'm going to come back to you in a while. Kushagra, how has it been for you in Delhi? I suppose you're in Delhi, so how has it been there? And considering it is one of the most huge hotspots in India, I am in Mumbai, so for me it's a huge hotspot. For you, it's probably slightly
Yeah.
lesser. So, how are you dealing with it?
Uh, I mean, as Karthik very succinctly put it, I'd say all of us on this podcast are pretty privileged people in that sense, because I don't think we faced even remotely as many hardships as most of the people are facing, because none of us, because three of us are students, and Karthik has been fortunate enough to be able to work from home. But a lot of people's livelihoods have been affected. A lot of people have lost people near and dear to them because of this disease and because of the virus and everything else. And so I would not want to complain, but yeah, of course it's been tough, man, because uh, everything's gone for a toss. I appreciate the concept of spending time with the family, but there can be something else, like too much time with the family, man, because yeah, Karthik might like staying at home. I do enjoy being at home from time to time, but not all the time. So it's been a new experience. I won't call it a challenge, but it's been a new and different experience. And I hope that this experience isn't something that lasts for long. As far as passing time, the college has kept us pretty busy over the past couple of weeks. Apart from that, been writing articles here and there, and desperately watching old matches and old leagues, hoping for things to come back. Just got to know yesterday that the Korean League is back this weekend, so waiting for that. Angela Merkel announced about the Bundesliga today as well, that they can start towards the end of May. So hopefully that comes back. At least we get to watch Dortmund play and maybe get to see Sancho and take it a little towards United side there. So yeah, keeping my fingers crossed. But I do think it will be a long while until when we can actually get back to what earlier was normal life.
Yes, and Kushagra, you mentioned about writing articles and stuff, and we've got Anurag here who's been writing content for a long time now, and me and him have been, kind of privileged, you would say, because we are writing on the Belarus Premier League and Nicaragua. I mean, I cannot even spell it
Nicaragua.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point of time. So we have been watching those leagues, we have been writing about them. It's kind of a really good new avenue to be exploring. And apart from that, Anurag, how has your lockdown period been so far?
Yeah, Prathamesh. I mean, uh, I would like to just continue with what Karthik and Kushagra have been telling. But it's been good to be in family. It's good to be with family. It's been good to be at home. But at the same time, too much of anything is not fun, right? So it's been like that. The law of diminishing marginal utility was true, in fact. So that's what has been in my case. Uh, as far as the football is concerned, yeah, so you're talking about the Belarus Premier League. It's like we've been exploring an alternate world, really. Like we didn't even know who these people were, if these leagues existed. Of course, Belarus and Nicaragua as countries, we knew they existed, but we never really focused on them. Now to actually watch them play football and actually write about them, that's been a hell of a task. And as far as my quarantine is concerned, I was actually very, very, very lucky to be back in Hyderabad from Mumbai. exactly at the right time. I was here in Hyderabad to work with the Sunrisers Hyderabad, as you know. So by the time I reached, the IPL was cancelled. The IPL got postponed, and luckily I was in Hyderabad. A few of my roommates who are also from Hyderabad, they are stuck there. Sad for them. But I've really been doing nothing. My mom is cooking all the food. I have nothing to cook. I have nothing to do really. It's been a month and a half since I actually stepped out of my house really. And I'm not even kidding when I say this. I know I have nothing to complain really. If I would complain having been so privileged, I think that would be really, really harsh on people who are struggling out there. So this is what I've been doing, and besides that, I've been reading a few books. Especially, I just started reading "Provided You Kiss Me." It's a magnificent book. I think one I would suggest to a lot of football lovers. It is the biography of one of the greatest English managers of all time, Brian Clough. What he's achieved with Leeds United and Nottingham Forest. That's what I've been reading right now, and yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. I think we would suppose love to read those books. Uh, Anurag, if you would lend them once you come back to Mumbai. Uh, and yes, we are going to come back to football and come back to Karthik, who's making his debut here, and want to learn from him what his overview of the season has been. Uh, we had Kushagra talk about it before, and the Bruno impact was stepped upon by Anurag with preciseness. And now, Karthik, how would you summarize your season so far?
So hi, so thank you, and great points, everyone. Like, just wanted to I mean, you guys, all of you made some great points. I just wanted to touch upon all your points here and there. Statistically, I think Kushagra mentioned how it's United's first season in terms of points, which is absolutely true because we have not performed that well. But I would like to see it slightly differently. We need to move forward. We had to untangle a lot of difficult knots. So so that's why this season was very very important for me. The signings that we have made, even before Bruno, I think we have made all our signings this year have been spot on, and the number of players we have disposed of which were not required, like taking a call on Lukaku, removing Lukaku and giving a chance for to Greenwood has paid off, and a lot of people were shocked that we could take that call. And I don't think lot many managers would have taken that call other than Ole. I mean, he understood it didn't fit in the system. It didn't fit the United way. I know we keep talking about the United way, and what's the style of like we have had the best of managers like Pana and Jose. Why have they failed, and why has Ole somewhat found the found the right mix of players? So I I feel we are moving in the right direction, and to expect any kind of any kind of trophies this year would have been highly unrealistic because we knew it would this project would take at least 2 years to I mean um, I mean come in we could before we could see the results. And be it about Fergie back in 2013 when he retired, anybody who was going to take that job after Fergie it was the impossible job. It was the most impossible job to take. So I'm not surprised that it's taken us so long. Maybe I was expecting Jose to win one title in between, but then it was difficult. I mean, because the manager, the kind of signings that they've made have not been the greatest. And we speak a lot about Bruno's influence, but we also should remember that Pogba has only played what 7 games, 8 games. Rashford has been injured for. Rashford was very badly managed. That we let so much. We kept playing him, and that he had to go through a very serious injury. And we have missed McTominay for a fair bit of our. Not many teams have had that many issues with injuries as many injuries that United has had. And yeah, and so yeah, just wanted to bring or point out these things. And one last thing, I was fortunate enough to be at Old Trafford on Boxing Day, watch United versus Newcastle, the 4-1 win, which was I was sitting right on the side on the long side watching Greenwood dribble past Greenwood taking that first touch and smashing the ball on the top of the crossbar and the ball going in. So just wanted to point out that I was at Old Trafford on Boxing Day this year and watched the 4-1 win. So yeah, it's been for me it's been a hopeful season more than a successful season, and I have a lot of hope that we're going to sign Sancho and we have a great front three with Bruno, McTominay, and Pogba playing behind. Let's see. Uh, yeah, that's all from my end.
You just made us slightly jealous right now that you saw Greenwood's goal at Old Trafford, but yeah, I mean that was a amazing strike and just brilliant goal from Mason Greenwood, and that shows the kind of leaps and bounds that he has come up. And that was after that match probably was one of our best podcasts, and we discovered Kushagra's Gary Neville instance somewhere around that line, and you talked about Mason Greenwood's amazing goal. We're just gonna wrap up one quick thing. We are gonna have a goal of the season view from every one of you, and also for our viewers, we want you to comment on our YouTube channel, and we want to hear from you what has been your favorite goal of the season. I would like to start with mine. My favorite goal of the season was Marcus Rashford's free kick against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Nobody saw that coming. We have been talking about Marcus Rashford injuring people in the stands with his free kicks, but that was probably as good as it gets from Marcus Rashford. Kushagra, your favorite goal of the season?
Yeah, I mean, you probably took the words right out of my mouth. No problem. I was gonna go for that. If not that, I think the goal that I choose will leave these two guys in a difficult spot. I'd choose the one against City, the free kick over the top and Martial's finish, because it's more about the level of impact that Bruno Fernandes showed, just the cleverness about chipping that ball and Martial getting it. And it may not have been the cleanest shot, but the importance of the goal and also the fact it was against City was a lot of fun. So yeah, that goal.
Anurag, your goal of the season?
I mean, it's tough to not overlook Rashford's free kick at the Stamford Bridge, of course. But I also really love Bruno Fernandes' strike against Everton because the ball was actually not bouncing or anything. For him to have found that pace, it was not even traveling. For Bruno to have found that pace of his feet, and that goalkeeper actually had no chance, and that was such a good long range strike. For me, that also is right up there. But of course, Rashford's goal has to be number one.
Karthik, am I expecting you to say the one which you watched at Old Trafford, Mason Greenwood
No,
strike,
no.
or do you have another answer for this?
Actually, I would, in terms of technical ability, I think Pogba's the first match against Chelsea. Obviously the Chelsea free kick is the best goal that we've scored this year. But then the second was for me personally was the Pogba think over the top of the defenders, Rashford's take and finishing it on the first day of the season. That for me is the best. But then in terms of importance, purely it's the penalty against City. I mean, those two games against City and then against Spurs, those two games were a must win for us because of so much pressure on Ole, and we beat both City at Etihad and then we beat Spurs the next game. I think, right? If I'm not wrong, we won back-to-back games, right? So
Yes.
for me, I think the sheer pressure of that goal of taking that first half performance was, I think, the best we have seen in a long time now. I think we completely opened them up. So I think that summed up for me the best goal.
Yeah, probably a really good contest to have on our YouTube comment section coming up, and you have a lot of time to comment, and then we will also probably give our final say on what we as a team feel is the goal of the season. Thank you for joining Sound of Manchester. It was lovely to be back, and we hope that everybody stays at home, stays safe, and I don't know how Rio would say it, but yes, SOM is back.